I call this meeting of the Municipal Airport Authority will now come to order. It's November 10th, 2025. Roll call, please.
Shawnee. Here. Berg.
Here.
Osgood.
Here.
Capitan.
Here.
Heckman.
Here. Let the record show that a quorum is present. Next item is the approval of minutes from the October 14th and special meeting on the 28th. Are there any corrections or additions to the minutes?
Move we approve.
I have an addition or a correction, page 4. The date is a typo, October 24th should be the 14th.
What was the change?
The minutes say that the meeting took place on October 24th on page 4 of the minutes, or excuse me, page 4 of the agenda, page 1 of the minutes.
The 28th.
Just up at the top
Right at the top. And then also I have an addition under page 2 of the minutes, page 10 of the agenda under old business and the governance committee update. The minutes do not reflect the entirety of the discussion that took place regarding governance. Opinion statements were included while omitting constructive comments from other board members present.
here. It was an update from the board, so I gave that.
I have a suggestion of how you could incorporate the other comments, and that can be confirmed with the meeting video.
I will second the motion to approve with the changes suggested.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I would move we adopt the minutes with those changes.
Without changes?
With the changes.
With
right.
changes? Okay.
I will second that.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes. Roll call, please.
Shawnee. Yes. Berg. Osgood.
Aye.
Capitan.
Aye.
Heckman.
Aye. Okay, consent agenda. The next item is the consent agenda. Does any member wish? Is there a motion to approve the order of the agenda? I'd like to add 2 things under old business. Just an update on liquor license and an update on the heated and air conditioned jetways. Is there a second to approve the order of the agenda?
Second.
Roll call.
Shawnee.
Yes.
Berg. Osgood.
Aye.
Capitan.
Aye.
Aye. The next item is the consent agenda. Does any member wish to move an item from the consent agenda to the regular agenda for discussion?
Madam Chair, I'd like to pull off number 3 and 4. Just to understand that a little bit more.
Okay, number 4, should we move that to the very top of the regular agenda?
3 and 4.
3 and 4, okay. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So move.
Second.
Second.
Okay. Or let's see. And roll call.
Shawnee. Yes. Berg.
Aye.
Osgood.
Aye.
Capitan.
Aye. Okay. Let's see, so So we'll move on to the regular agenda. Number 3, approve consent to assignment of lease between Group 2 LLC and Magnum Electric LLC.
So go ahead, Stacy. She worked with.
So the background on this is Group 2 LLC was 50% owned by Mike Graham and 50% owned by Chris Schuler. Mike is buying out Chris, and Chris is consenting to the assignment to Mike's sole LLC. So the purpose is just to make sure that Chris has consented to it, the fact that he's being bought out, and then move to Magnum.
Should we just do a new lease with Magnum then? Rather than having a bunch of,
So there was a very long history. This is the red hanger or the
Yeah,
Nagel
yeah.
hanger. Yep. And back we continued to add on to extensions. And Sean and I talked in, I'm gonna say February or March, and I proposed let's do a whole new ground lease so it's clean. And we have, the Nagels are completely out, and these are the two entities we have. So I believe in April, the ground lease was signed. So I felt that
all
since
the old stuff was cleaned up in
the
April.
old stuff was done.
So this is
was
assignment
cleaned
of
up.
this lease.
Correct.
Yep, so the new ground lease for Group 2 LLC was a fresh start, basically. So that's why I felt it was appropriate to do this assignment and consent.
So the other question is where are they at with their construction? Because that was something that they had committed to doing last December.
The interior of the hangar is completely gutted. And there's ongoing discussions between Mr. Graham and representatives of Group 6 to influence the construction of the hangar so that when Mr. Graham is done, they would be able to add on so it would look like one hangar. That's as of about 2 weeks ago. The interior is completely gutted. So they are working towards what we wanted in the start is that would look like one common hangar. So
Move we approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any more discussion? Any more discussion? Any more discussion? Roll call.
Shawnee,
Yes.
Bird,
Aye.
Osgood,
Aye.
Atherton.
Aye. Number 4, approve request from JP Development LLP for 180-day right of refusal for adjacent property development.
Mr. Hall is here representing JP Development. So as the map shows, this is the layout that the board had approved when JP Development constructed their far west hangar on the row here. The airport authority was going to construct this concrete apron here. If you recall, it was in the bid tabulation, then change ordered out after their plans to build one of these two hangars up here fell through. But that could be coming back up again. So this was change ordered out. We had planned to do that this past summer or the summer before. So this is in concurrence. You have a 90-day right of first refusal on your hangar down south. For the property to the north, they requested 180. You can certainly change it to 90 to be in accordance with the others. But what happens is if somebody comes in and wants to construct right here, where if you approve the 180-day right of first refusal, they would then have 180 days to come forth with plans to start construction of a hangar that's in accordance with the plan that the board had looked at some years ago.
What is our overall plan for that?
To build large corporate hangars just in the area in accordance with the master plan. Yeah, they're in the 40 to 50 to 100,000 square foot range. I mean, there's a lot of options up there on the master plan for a whole row of hangars to go through on this north end with more apron.
I guess that's my question. We define what that whole development is going to be. I mean, because it seems like it's changed around a lot with different size hangars and different things.
Yeah, I mean, the master plan's a template. I mean, we can react to plans to construct things that are a little bit different than what was originally planned because things change over time. This is the current layout that the board has worked with when they decided to move forward with the parking lot expansion west. But there's room for other large hangars in here. These are like 40,000. Darren, do you remember the size? 30,000 square foot hangars.
Is what's depicted.
So
Well, yeah,
Are we then gonna put the apron in? Is that?
if they have a viable, tenant to build and have the justification to build, then the FAA would allow us to put the apron
So what's the cost of the apron?
in. Jeff, what was it when we changed ordered out? He's not here right now. Let's say we change ordered out about 4 million roughly.
And that would be paid for how?
Well, we pay for it out of pocket, and then either we could get a federal grant for it, get a state grant for it, or a combination of thereof, or we cover it through a PFC.
So the lease revenue will cover the apron,
They never do. No,
I know.
that's never.
but fully developed.
Even fully developed wouldn't, I mean, if we receive, it's all eligible to be recovered in the PFC, so the lease revenue has nothing to do with the other. The ramp would be put in, we pay for it out of pocket and likely recover in the PFC. It's a low priority AIP grant for it, so therefore we pay for it up front and get the PFC. As we are with the other property that was done there, there was federal grant, well, we didn't receive federal grant funds or state grant funds for it, we recovered the PFC. At the end of the day, our cost is zero. Tenant is responsible for the concrete that's 50 feet out from the threshold of the hangar.
And the 180-day request is for planning timing, what?
For their planning, yeah. So if somebody came, if you approve this today and somebody came tomorrow, they'd have 180 days to put forth a plan to start construction of a hangar in that area, or the person that would like to build there would be granted the permission to go forward. It's really the same agreement that you have on your hangar down at 19th Avenue, just it's 180 days versus 90 days.
Do we have a policy?
It's up to the board on a case-by-case basis. Typically, they're 90 days. Some can be longer, but I don't foresee anybody coming forth in the next 180 days to build a hangar up there. That makes the most sense to let Jet Center build in that area, so it's a contiguous fixed-based operator.
well, I think, we really want to support the Jet Center. And because they've really obviously important part of the airport, we want to accommodate the growth. Same time, you want to make sure that we have kind of a longer term plan for that whole area, because it's really one of the last areas that's close to the runway and has great access. So I guess I'm assuming they're trying to put this together, and you want to know that you've got the land, so you're not spending a lot of time and energy doing that. I guess could we do a 90-day extension to give you that, and we can extend another 90 or something if you've got something going?
If looking back at our last agreement was 180 days when we were looking to build that last segment that we built on the existing North GA. So we were just following suit with that, I guess. Yeah, we consider that, I guess.
Yeah, I'm thinking like anyway, build
Can
something.
the group hear me? This is Pat Sweeney.
Yes.
Hi, Pat.
Good morning, everybody. This is, as you know, we're maxed out on the main ramp. And this is could be a good expansion of our aerospace engineering facilities for special mission aircraft. I mean, believe it or not, those two new hangars are full with special mission, and we continue to grow. And that'd be my plan, to take one of those buildings as special mission for continued engineering and modifying special mission airplanes for governments around the world. As well as additional aircraft storage. We're full, so we need more storage
So
and active floor space for mechanics and engineers.
So Pat, this is Rick. I guess, do you have like a
Yes.
site plan? And I mean, kind of from my question is, where do you want to expand and kind of what's left over? I can't understand
This is the site plan.
that.
This is the site plan.
Can't see that from here.
Yeah, it's in your back.
Well, we're in the planning stages now, but 90 days is kind of tight to have a decision, but 180, we're more comfortable with that.
That's what they.
I mean, we want the space because we're there.
Yeah, I think we absolutely want to do it. I guess my question is, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, where will other people put hangars? And it looks like that ramp would extend to the east. Is that kind of the thought?
Correct.
So other hangars would stack up on either side of that ramp?
And there's room to go north even from there. If you look at the master plan of the airport, and it's the one online is not updated yet, but it extends all the way north through that field. For additional development.
Well, what is your timing on this thing, Pat? I mean,
Well, potentially, depending on things happening around the world, could be this spring. Spring of 26, which is about 180 days.
well, I would move that we give you or that we do the 180-day extension.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any more discussion?
Stacy, real quickly, the right of first refusal, what are we talking? Have to have a formal submitted bid to purchase? What's the trigger?
I would say maybe submit a bid or someone coming to the board with plans to try to develop in that area.
Oh, so we don't have that done yet? We don't have a
We
right
don't
of
have a
first
plan to
refusal?
react to. I mean, we have a plan here.
No,
but
we
not
don't
a
have a
specific
right of first refusal.
For that,
spot. No, not yet.
not in that area.
We're giving them the option for the land to build their expansion hangar and 2 more hangars.
That could just be an option instead of right of first refusal. They pay for an option.
Right of first refusal is how we've always handled it for decades.
Well, if you recall, where we built our hangars, which is Foxtrot and Golf today, our new engineering facilities, we had a first right of refusal on that land for many, many years, and we exercised it. And that's what we want again for to turn north for expansion.
It goes back in, the practice goes back into the late 70s, early 80s with right of first refusals. They've never done options. And it works well. I mean, there's no risk either way.
It's simple. We want first right of refusal. Somebody else comes in. You say, okay, Sweeney's, Fargo Jet, you want to build? And we'll say yes, and we go, or we pass. And then the option goes to the next group.
Yeah, I mean, I think either way works. I mean, if you guys are comfortable doing it this way, we should do it this way. I think it'd be better if you had the option to purchase, and no one's going to call your hand in 30 days or something like
Right.
that. But
Right.
The only problem with right of first refusal is another buyer is sometimes reluctant to put a formal bid for it. And so
sure.
it becomes, options to me seem a little cleaner, but that's fine.
I think your option to purchase is better for you, but if you're okay with right of first refusal, I think that's.
And I think that's why we did that with Hangar 19.
I don't recall what we did there.
It was a flurry.
What's that?
It was a flurry. A lot going on.
Anyway.
But we did do a right of first refusal for that hangar. Versus an option.
That's, we approved what was requested.
Any more discussion? Do you want to restate the motion?
The motion is to provide them 180 first right of refusal.
Okay, and we've got a second. Roll call.
Shawnee.
Yes.
Berg.
Aye.
Osborne.
Aye.
Capitan. 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 Ekman.
I think your mic's
Aye.
off.
He's muted.
Jim, you're muted.
Motion,
Capitan. All right.
motion passes. Number 5, we've got Tana.
Hey, thank you very much, everybody.
Thanks, Pat.
Actually, could we get a
Oh, sure.
site plan of that area for next time and what our plan is, what our master plan is for that whole area?
We'll work with the authority to drop some new expansion plans and for future, maybe looking out 10 years.
Sounds good. Okay, moving on to number 5.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Number 5, receive September financials, and we've got Tana.
Hi, good morning, everybody. The September financials are in your board packet. No big surprises this month. I have no concerns with the operating budget. I will say though that worked with Jeff a little bit at Mead and Hunt, and the CIP for 2026 is being refined a little bit. So come December, I should have some good reports in the packet as far as like an updated cash forecast of what 2026 is going to look like. Because we know our terminal projects will be ending, our parking projects will be ending, the majority of the dollars for the terminal project will. And just show you how that flows into 2026 with the projects that have been slated for work. So does anybody have any questions regarding the financials? Like I said, employments are high, the KPIs look good. I didn't get any specific parking revenue reports like I had last month. I reached out to SP Plus, and the one guy I think was on vacation, and I didn't get any other response. So as we get those, we can route those to you.
Madam Chair, Tana, net income year to date.
Net income year to date, we're at about 2.2.
2.2 versus budget of
That's what we're above budget by about 1.2.
1.2. All right. Do you see that continuing through the year?
I do right now, just because employments have been at an all-time high for probably the past 12 months. I don't see that changing. So with that, the airline revenue will increase, the car rentals, the restaurant, all of those should continue to grow along with the employment. So yeah, for the remainder of the year, I don't see any downswing in those numbers.
Okay. And where do you have the interest in this one?
The interest is now at the bottom of the balance sheet. When you look at that, so it does give you like the net operating, and then it gives you the full net income, and that includes the other income. So what I did was by taking the interest income out of the revenue section, I moved it to the bottom under the other section. That way the revenue is a true reflection of your daily operating revenue versus your daily operating expenses.
But comparison, when we're looking back, interest was in the income prior, correct?
It was, correct.
The other question I had, there's a miscellaneous income in there of about $500,000, account 370. In the detail, it was listed as reimbursement. What is that? Let's get more of it.
Yeah, I can sign into QuickBooks here quick and take a look for you as to what the miscellaneous is.
It's the builder's risk reimbursement from Hanover.
Oh, there you go. Thanks, Sean.
So builder,
So for the roof, they sent us a
Okay.
check for whatever the amount was, $400,000, so that's went into the.
450.
Something like that, yeah.
And the last thing, and Sean, you'd sent out, is the Bank of North Dakota. Their infrastructure loan program is kind of opening back up, and Tana, I don't know if you've taken a look at that, but
Yeah.
would
I have.
any of the existing terminal projects fit under that?
Unfortunately, that isn't something we can apply for.
Okay.
The restrictions state that if we currently have $20 million with the Bank of North Dakota loan, we are ineligible to apply for any future loan at this time. And I did discuss that with Sean, and I also reached out to Bank of North Dakota on that last week for confirmation.
So if we wanted to do more, we'd probably have to go to the legislature for a change. Is that bank policy or legislation, do you know?
Is what bank policy or legislation?
The 20 million, is that bank policy or is it legislative?
I believe that came strictly from the Bank of North Dakota. That was their offering that they put out. I don't know if the legislature was involved at that at all, unless Sean does.
I believe it's the bank.
So it's something I thought we should take a look at. Thank you.
Number 6. Approve airline lease.
We need to receive.
Or excuse me, we need to receive September financials. Roll call
Motion.
or motion. Is there a motion to
Motion to receive.
receive? Is there a second?
Second.
Any more discussion? Any more discussion? Roll call.
Bird.
Aye.
Osriff.
Aye.
Capitan. Jim Capitan. Ekman.
Aye.
Oh, there we go. Aye. Okay, number 6, approve airline lease and operating agreement rates and charges model to be effective January 1st of 2026. And
So John DeCoster is online along with Tana, of course. And, you wanna-
Good morning, everyone.
good morning.
You can hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. I'm John DeCosta with Decom Aviation. In my previous life, I actually worked with Sean back in 2009 in the negotiation and development of the existing agreement. So prior to that, I was with Northwest Airlines and had Fargo as one of my cities. So I go back to 1995 with Fargo. Long history. When we entered into the negotiation or the lease discussion this time, a lot's changed since 2009. There have been a number of changes with regard to space and how it was categorized and who paid for it, such as ticket counter queuing space, the baggage screening areas, the checkpoints and such, which had traditionally been picked up by the airport. And there was a shift during that period that they now became airline rented space. So we made that change as part of this process also. Then secondly, there was a lot of, because of unleased gates in the past, there's been a shift in the industry for airports to try and categorize the gates as joint use space, whereby all of the space is actually paid for by the airlines. It's not, Delta leases a gate, Frontier leases a gate, United leases a gate. What this does is it shifts the risk away from you, the airport, to the airlines, because you take the total square footage of the gates, and then you recover all of that cost of that square footage by just having a joint use charge for the space. Thirdly, what we did is in the model, a lot's changed there too. We do not have discretionary accounts set up. They became very controversial for airlines. And so what we end up doing is going to a cost-based model and applying discretionary revenue, but also giving you the opportunity to use whatever discretionary revenue you have to cover any of your costs. So we built that into the model to make sure that we give that discretion to you. And one of the things about that is that with the debt, at this point, the authority has chosen not to charge debt back to the airlines for the terminal project and use fund balances to pay for your local share. We built into the model for both the airfield and the terminal that in the future, if that policy is changed, if you don't have the fund balance to support something, then you will have the ability to charge back the debt service in the rates and charges model. So we wanted to make sure that you've got that flexibility. That's not been imposed by the airlines. My last comment is this lease agreement, it's taken a little longer than we wanted to, but the reason being is I was also working with another airport similar to Fargo in the upper Midwest about the last 2.5 years on a lease agreement with virtually the same airline group. And we've worked through a lot of the issues to the point where they're in the process of approving their lease right now and the rates and charges model. We wanted to capitalize on that so that we could kind of streamline this. So we started a little bit slower, but the process to get to this point has been greatly expedited by using the same principles we used in this other airport in the development of the rates and charges model for Fargo, and then also incorporating the changes in the lease document itself that is consistent with what they had there. Wanted to do a few overview tabs from the rates and charges model for you, the kind of the important ones. Oh, Tana, can you get me to the landing fee first, please? So these are the calculation sheets for the actual rates and charges model where you take the costs. The costs are all allocated out to cost centers, the cost centers being the terminal, the airfield, ARF, and other. And we go through and we allocate out costs to that. And we also have some dedicated revenues that we put back, for instance, in the airfield, it'd be like landing fees from general aviation, things like that. And then when you take the total weight, which we used your current weights plus a small increase for next year for probably conservative to make sure that we aren't over committing or over projecting and under committing. So if you were to look at a pure cost recovery, the landing fee calculation would generate to $2.31 per square for 1,000 pound units. Your landing fee currently is 55 cents. The landing fee, I'll tell you from an airline standpoint, is something that's very visible to them because it's the gift that keeps on giving, because every day they're flying the airplanes in. And so we always like to try and keep landing fees at a very reasonable level. So what we did in this case is we increased the landing fee to 58 cents to recognize some additional increase. And to do that, though, we needed to take 1.5 million nominally of what you've got for surplus revenue and apply it to write it down to that. And I'll talk about that right now. And this will be applicable to both to the landing fee, to the ARF charges, and to the terminal rent. That 1.5 million is coming out of surplus revenue you have from things like parking and rental cars and concession fees and all the general aviation rent that's not allocated to the airline cost centers. And then that's surplus rent that you've got, or revenue you've got, in addition to what you need to cover your costs, the authority's costs. So when we get to the 1.5 million, the way we've set the lease up is if, for instance, the weight is greater, as Tana mentioned, the enplanements and the landed weight continue to grow. We hope that's the case. In case, for instance, at the end of the year, and there is a reconciliation provision in this, and Tana calculates. I'm sorry, Tana, I don't know what's going on here. And Tana calculates that the requirements wouldn't be, that the actual rate would be, for instance, 54 cents. What happens then is you do not do a refund to the airlines under a typical reconciliation, is you would actually recover the 1.5 million prior to giving the airlines any reconciliation money back. And that's the case for the landing fee, the ARF charge, and the terminal. So I just wanted to make sure that you realize that even though you're giving it away up front, if you outperform what the budgeted rates are, you actually get the first opportunity to get that money back before the airlines have an opportunity to also access it. And then on the ARF, the same thing. We identified what ARF charges are. We took the same weight. The calculated ARF charge would be $1.72 per 1,000 pounds. The target we have is 125, and there's about $413,000 that is used to write the ARF charges down to the 125. So I'll pause there and see if there's any questions on the landing fee and ARF charges. I know I'm throwing a lot at you.
Madam Chair, John, maybe you could help excuse me, help us understand we have the ability to reduce the amount of subsidy that we provide and charge a higher rate. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. That is correct. We set these rates trying to stay competitive with what the airlines expect and with your historical patterns. However, if you have a need for that money that is, and you can't apply it toward the airline rates and charges, you set the rate based on you set that money how you want to use it, and then the rate just calculates out to what the rate is. So if you only decided in a year, for instance, you only between these two, it's nominally 190 or 1.9 million. If you decided you had a project you wanted to do, or there was a future obligation that you had to use your local match for, and you didn't have that kind of money, you could reduce these to whatever they are, up to the full cost recovery number of the 231 and the 172, based on the calculation.
So we have the chance with the discretionary revenue. We've got about 2 million built into this, where we're writing down those costs.
Yes, in these two, correct.
Correct. And so what we're choosing here is to be a low cost provider at this point.
Yes, because you've been able historically, because of your debt position and your non-airline revenue health, you've been able to do that, and we're trying to continue that going forward, so we don't give airlines a reason to not want to grow Fargo.
And our debt service, if we does this anticipate the debt service on our parking garage and potential debt service on the terminal at completion?
The parking garage debt service is built into this. We've got the loan, and what that gets allocated back to the other cost center, which is everything but airfield, terminal, and ARF. So that debt service is in here. So that's offsetting the non-airline revenue that's being shown as being available. So that is being paid for through the other cost center allocation. And again, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, other airports our size that you work with, what's the range of the all-in fee there?
The subsidies, the fees are different because airports have different positions on debt service. You've been very airline friendly in your position thus far. Generally, the subsidies for an airline or airport your size are somewhere between 2.5 to 3.5 million overall. And again, still the fact that is just a year by year picture, and kind of reinforcing what you asked before. You set these rates each year, so this isn't something that will be the case for the next 5 years, which is the base term of the lease. These will be calculated. Tana will calculate these each year. She's worked with this model before in her previous airport job. And so it's something that as a board make a decision for 27, 28, 29, 30, you'll be able to say, okay, this year, this is our current financial situation, and we can or cannot sustain this kind of subsidy for the airlines to the rates and charges.
Okay. And for example, Sioux Falls, all in, their rate is what?
It's $25.
$25, and
yes, sir.
Our rate all in is?
It'll be 14. We can go ahead and let's flip to that page, Tana. Using the same methodology at 1480.
And
but they also have debt service in their model. They were not in because they built a garage also similar to you, and they had some other project they had to locally fund. They're not in the same position you are because they actually have to have some debt service in their rates and charges model because they don't have enough fund balance to cover it.
Okay. So the 1480, would that be like the bottom of all?
You could go to zero. I mean, literally, but the calculate for the rental rate, the calculated rate is 2272.
Yeah, comparative rates for similar airports.
You're on the low end.
Okay.
You're on the low end.
All right. So our decision here is to be a low end provider. We could be a higher cost provider and then use funds for promotion or different things. Our model is going to be we're low cost, and that's how we're going to attract additional services, correct? Okay.
That'd be Sean. Okay.
What is the length of this lease agreement?
We're doing a 5-year base term.
Okay,
With a 3-year mutually agreed option to renew.
okay. And the last time this lease was done,
2009.
2009.
And just keep in mind, like John said, this model will be done as part of the every budget cycle. So we will do this model as we work on the budget for the upcoming year to determine what the rates and charges are. And this year we don't have debt service, but for 26, 27, 28, we may need to start building in the debt service because this model will change every year based on our cash fund balance and the capital projects that we have coming.
Tana, can you float or flip to the revenue sharing? This will reinforce something Tana just said. So for instance, you don't have debt service per se next year for the capital improvement local shares you have to expend. But as part of this, then we've actually escrowed, and you'll see the second to last item, we've effectively escrowed $1 million next year because as Tana and Sean are looking at the CIP for 2026, they identified a local share requirement of $1 million. So instead of giving it to the airlines, charging it back in future rates, we're taking this money, setting it aside now because it's available so that you'll be able to fund your 2026 local share capital needs. And then even doing that, you're still effectively at a $43,000 quote profit. And then remember, as I said before, all the revenue sharing that you're giving to the airlines, if you outperform what these rates would require, all of that money comes back to you first before it goes back to the airline. So effectively, you've got $3.1 million that's being used right now to write rates and charges down. But if you outperform, that $3.1 million goes back into your bank account before it goes to airlines, and it does not go to airlines.
Dr. Bajani,
Sean, your recommendation?
To approve.
Motion to approve.
is there a second?
Second it.
Any more?
I think the issue here is we're approving a formula, and that formula today provides $1,480 is that cost. I think, and then we can't really change the formula for 5 years. The numbers are going to change within that formula. So I think with our desire to attract more airlines here, I think having it at the low end is good. I think it would also be helpful in the future if we took the 6 or 7 peer airports we have, and you could tell us what their rate's at, in terms of who would we be competing with for more direct flights. So again, we don't need that now, but I think at some point that would be good for us to have that information. The other thing that came out of this, and so also thank you, Sean, for making time for John and I to sit in and kind of dig into this a little bit deeper. But the other thing that I think is interesting is we showed like 1.5 million that we'd received before we paid it back to the airlines. And I think if we can think of things that would benefit the airlines, we can use that money for things that would benefit the airlines. And last year we had a discussion with the managers of each airline about how can we make it easier to fly in and out of Fargo when it's 20, 30 below. And they came up with ideas. And I think that was one of the discussions we talked about. If we wanted to add something, whatever it is, heated equipment storage or, whatever, that would be a legitimate use of these dollars. And so I think, we approve this, but I think we should look at what are things we can do that are a direct benefit to the airlines that, would pass their test and obviously make it a better experience for our customers there.
Perhaps a luggage lift or something.
Really,
like that.
whatever is helping directly, specifically the airlines. They'll look at our overall rate, and I think they'll be fine with that. So that might be something that we do again as we get the airline managers together, find out what their priorities are and what we could do to help make their job and their, staff make it easier.
Agreed.
Well, and I think our big advantage is being at the bottom of the cost structure. And that's kind of what we're saying we're gonna lead with as we attract or attempt to attract additional services. Because I think other airports are charging a higher fee and then using funds to directly subsidize and promote new services. So if we're gonna be that low cost provider, that should be
Any more discussion?
marketing message.
Any more discussion? I'd like to thank John and Tana for working so hard on this new analysis. Roll call, please.
Shawnee.
Yes.
Bird.
Aye.
Osgood.
Aye.
Capitan.
Aye.
Heckman.
Aye. Number 7, update from TL Stroh Architects on parking ramp roof, skyway, and south parking lot. Terry.
Morning, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good. So in the room today, I have a gentleman from my office who's strategic in my company. His name's Joe Jenny. He'll be giving you reports on the Skyway in the next few months while I'm out of town. I'll continue to be on the call, however. I thought I would start out before Joe gives you an update on the Skyway about the roof on the ramp. Last Wednesday, we had a number of people, several people from McGuff, actually some people from Minneapolis from McGuff, insurance adjuster, people from the airport authority, and Joe was there, and people from Herzog as well. So they're gathering a lot of data right now. The insurance people wanted us to send the drawings for the roof, so we've done that. We did that basically that Wednesday, and so we're waiting to hear back on what we think could be the cause of this. So right now there isn't really anything to report in terms of any solutions. The roof is secured. It's only over the parking area, and so we don't have any worries about the lobby or anything like that getting damaged. So I'm hoping to have some more information for you at the next meeting for sure. If we have it sooner, which I would hope we do, but we will send it to Sean and he can distribute it to the board. So that's kind of what we have on the roof for now. Do you have any questions?
Madam Chair.
Mr. Cosgrove.
Yeah, how much are we out of pocket from the first blow off?
50,000.
Okay. Was that our liability at all?
Builder's risk.
So we had the builder's risk policy with the 50,000 deductible. Have we asked for reimbursement back from?
We have not.
Would that be normal?
No, it's not. It's basically what a builder's risk is for. It's for basically acts of God. So things that nobody has necessarily a culpability in. So typically you would not get reimbursed for that. No.
Well, I'm curious because now we're in our second failure of the same roof.
Right.
So are we crossing over from act of God to act of construction design?
Yeah. So in this next go round, we'll need that will all be determined in terms of, whose fault we think it is, and if it's multiple faults or whatever that would be. Right now, your insurance carrier wanted to come and look at it and review it. And so depending on if they find things, that would be a different thing. The first one, they were actually under construction, and so not technically complete and or maybe completely finished with the area that came off. I've only had a couple of things in my career that this has happened. Actually had a building that was framed and got completely blown down by a straight line wind of 90 to 100 miles an hour up in Hillsboro. And again, that was a act of God and during construction, and so builder's risk covered that. And like with any insurance, you have some kind of a deductible. So
Terry, I'm not really concerned about the first one because I get that.
yeah,
Was the roof completely done now on this?
I get that too. Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, so we need to figure out what's going on, and right now I don't think anybody has a conclusion of that. So you're exactly right, Rick. We need to figure out what is the problem and rectify it, and I'm sure at some point there might be, whether it's contractor or whether it's us, whatever, if there's a determination. Right now,
Terry,
go ahead.
yeah, so I get all that and that'll all be resolved. What I'm probably 80% concerned about is what happens 2 years from now. So I don't want everyone that's involved just to cut a deal and be done with it if this is going to happen.
No, obviously we want to resolve it. We want to fix it. We don't want it to happen again. So
Well, I
that's,
guess the question is, if it does happen again, I mean, it's kind of like the Fargo Dome roof. I don't want this to be a ongoing issue for future authorities. So I guess, again,
I understand that, but there's really, I don't know how I can answer that question in terms of a finality of an answer, I guess. So,
okay, so my question to you would be, what should we do to ensure that if there's a problem 3 years from now, how is that addressed? Who's responsible for it?
well, in your contract, both with the ramp and the terminal, there's a guarantee of 1 year for failures and those kind of things. So theoretically,
I'm
in
talking about
3
2
years,
years.
it's an issue. In 2 years, same thing. So it's only a year. So it's always a year. So from the time that you've gotten occupancy, it's a year, and that's what the contract states. That's what most, if not all, contracts state.
Well, I just think that we should not call this issue resolved until we have a plan for what happens 2 or 3 years. I mean, this is a special situation where this roof's blown off twice. And, I want us to be clear what happens if the same thing happens, 18 months from now. Because these roofs should be 20, 30-year roofs.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's something that's going on that needs to be rectified for sure.
But again, as our lead architect, what I'm saying is I think we would like, at the end of this, as you sort all this out, to say, here's how we can protect ourselves best if something happens 2 and 3 years after that normal builder's warranty runs out. And if we don't have something like that, I would assume we're going to pay for that in our insurance.
There is a warranty from the membrane manufacturer. I believe it's Firestone. Is that correct, Joe? That goes for 20 years.
Yeah, it's a 20 years, 25 year.
Again, I don't want to get in the weeds, but
Yeah, but that is the protection going forward, is the warranty from the membrane manufacturer.
Not
I
if it's
believe.
installation or design.
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different parts to that whole thing, and we
Correct.
want to know we're not going to be in a bunch of
Did we
lawsuits.
buy a roofing system or did we buy parts?
I believe the membrane needs to be mechanically fastened, not glued. That's my opinion.
So, again, we'll find out what it is, but we want to have some leverage if we have that problem in the future.
Maybe an additional warranty.
So Terry, you're referring to it as an act of God. How high were the winds that day? And what is the warranty cover for
Yeah, so
normal
that's a really
wind?
good question, Paula. Actually, Joe Casper's team right away went to the weather service. Your warranty or your insurance covers up to 55 miles an hour. It was a steady wind of 30 with gusts to 51. So your insurance should cover it. However, again, that's why they wanted to see details and stuff. So in any case, that's how your insurance is written. And so we did not meet the maximum wind velocity that would, give them a option to opt out. So
We have a $5,000 deductible with the NERF.
Any more discussion? On the roof, do you want to move on to Skyway and?
yeah, please. Yeah. So Joe, come up to the stand and give you a report. Thanks.
If you stand like right here, then the microphone will pick you up.
I'm Joe Jenny with TL Stroh. Currently, the primary framing for the Skyway is pretty complete, with the exception of the interior stuff. They haven't gotten to that yet. They're working on miscellaneous framing, roofing, and floor decking currently. And they have poured, is the whole apron sidewalk in front poured? The sidewalk we had to demo by the entry. The main entry has been re-poured last week. And that's kind of where we're at right now on the Skyway.
Do you have a completion date, guesstimate?
December 22, 26.
Which one?
December 22, 26.
Okay. Wow. And south parking lot.
What's going on the south parking lot?
We got pricing for that back. I got to work with Sean and Jeff Klein on if we can get that in this winter, or if it can stay in the temporary condition until spring.
It sounds as if last week KPH isn't going to do anything until next spring.
Yeah.
So it's on hold until they do already approved the change order to keep the parking lot. That's all done. Now it's just a matter of getting the contractor to complete the work. But it'll probably be next spring, which isn't an issue.
Another question, when will we be able to open up the first floor of the ramp for parking?
That was February, and then we ran into the 22-day delay for the water line service, so it'll be end of February until we have to get the slab poured for the whole Skyway, and then get the exterior framing on and the glass so we can get it enclosed, and we're not having to go north south, and then we can open it up for traffic again on Dakota Drive end of February.
Any other discussion on number 7, update from TL Stroh? Okay, number 8, update from Nathan Hunt regarding terminal expansion and modification project. I think we've got Brandon. Hi, Brandon.
Hey, good morning, everybody. So you probably see a lot around the ticketing addition. That's the iconic focal point as you turn the corner. That area, that'll be getting tile soon. The ATO office floorings are going in. Baggage handling and the sealing of the concrete floors and the background's happening, or in the back of house. Level 2, the immersive reality, I think we're shooting for mid-December. The gate casework is arriving sometime, I believe, this week or next. So then installation will start on that. The level 2, like around the concourse and such, you have the floor tile and wall tile all going in. Hopefully you guys have had a chance to walk through it and see it. It's really coming together. It's very light, bright, and yeah, really exactly what was anticipated. And drywall lighting on the third floor, and the ceilings are going in, and then also on level 3 painting will begin soon. So inside the building, that's kind of a summary of what's going on there. They're still really moving right along. A lot of activity. The exterior metal panels still ongoing around the building. Curtain wall glass installed. That's the curtain wall. It is. Aluminum curtain wall install is complete. Still getting what's called the H windows, the wood window kind of with the inverted angle on the front end. That's being fabricated and install coming soon, December. And then let's see, did I get that right? Yeah, actually end of this month that curtain wall installation will begin. And then the apron you'll see is complete on the air side. East side parking lot is complete. The permanent fencing install is substantially complete. There's a tie-in detail they need to come back and put together. And then the new passenger boarding bridges are installed. So a lot happening, a lot of exciting things. And then in the renovation, the MEP or mechanical, electrical, and plumbing, and the new security checkpoint is complete. Painting and glazing will start in the next couple weeks here, and then the level 1 bathrooms, the rough-in is complete, and so you'll start seeing some finishes going in soon on that. And then as they talked about, steel erection for the Skyway is moving right along. So we've been working with Tana every step of the way here. Budget is tracking. So that's the update on the terminal. Any questions?
You referred to, Brandon, you referred to the glazing. What kind of glazing? And was there a glaze study done?
Oh, did I say so glazing and glass? Is that okay? Yes. And study, how do you mean like what kind of a study would you be referring to?
Oh, just to make sure that like the light's not blinding our ticket agents in the morning or.
Oh, yeah. We have it's actually like a sage glass. That's the glass that will transition. It's not as drastic, but you know, those transitional lenses that you can get, it's kind of like that. It's tied to a low voltage and it adjusts based on the light of the amount of light coming through. So yeah, that was definitely something that we had talked through during design.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Do you have an update on you mentioned some of the existing areas. Can you give us an update on the baggage claim area?
Yeah, so the baggage claim, I think they moved through, they got 2 of the baggage claim carousels done. And if you recall on the phasing plan, the level 1, that had kind of a timeline of pretty much over these next 2 years. So, I mean this last year and then this year. That is essentially the filler work for McGuff in that it's not on the critical path. As they have the trades there working on other things and they find opportunities to where it's going to mitigate the operations of that space and not disrupt it, they'll jump in there and start working on it. But if you're wondering about like ticketing and those improvements, I would have to get back with Joe and find out what the delivery schedules of the casework and stuff are for that.
Okay, I just asked because I give you an additional budget for the baggage claim.
Yeah, it's in there, and it's coming. So if there isn't any other questions on the progress, I think the next thing that we had to talk about was the Clear Channel advertising locations. So I think it's on page, when I looked, like 146 of your packet. Clear Channel provided a formal request for approval of the advertising locations that we presented in previous meetings. So I believe Thaddeus is on the call to talk about that.
Thaddeus?
I'm not seeing him.
Do we want to move to Michael Strand and we can come back to Thaddeus? Okay.
Sure.
Michael Strand, are you calling in from Italy?
I am. Hey, everybody. I'm with 26 undergrad and graduate students in Italy, and so if the internet's not the best, everybody can hear me, I take it, no delay?
All good, Michael.
All right, so I took my afternoon away from Florence to meet with y'all, and it doesn't look like I can share a screen. I can probably talk through this. If not, I had a little tiny 1 or 2 slides. I'm not sure if that's possible, but I'll be very quick. I know timing is everything, but probably not. Is that right?
I thought you could share your screen. I've been able to.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, you're right. Okay.
You find it?
Yeah, I did. I'm just going to share this really quickly and just to give you an idea, a little bit of what we're up to. 1 second here. Okay, everybody see that clearly?
Yes.
Other than a slight pixelation. Okay, so once again, I think I talked to you folks a couple times about the concept, but the proposal I put forward, which is to work in the 2 main showcase areas in a rotational process and curate exhibitions. And I wanted to give you just a couple of examples of what that means. These aren't actually proposals. They're things I'm actively working on either at NDSU or at the airport, but they're things that I think could be a really good fit for the airport and the kind of things that we've talked about. This is just one of our portal exhibitions, so you get the idea of how we design and how it comes together. This is actually a small painting, or a painting, and then we, using our science collection and scientists at the university, creating the ability to look through these little tiny, if you look at these little tiny glass areas here, you can look through there and it gives you the how a bird would see the painting. It's just a way to kind of a fun, kind of interactive thing to learn about science and also be connected to art. That's just an example of some of the things that we do. I'll give you a couple of other really quick, straightforward kinds of concepts, though, although that one's pretty fun. That's already in place and we've done that. But when we curate, it's more than just hanging things on the walls. It's creating an interactive, creating an interpretive opportunity and creating an educational opportunity. And so it's more than just hanging. It's really creating an opportunity for folks to engage. One concept I'm working on, I've planted a seed. That's a pun intended. I'm in Italy. And I'm tired I've talked to Greg Lardy, who's a friend of mine and VP of Ag, and I have a concept to get some cameras in the hands of, or get an opportunity for farmers across the region in the state to give an opportunity to take some photographs of what they deem as beautiful in the space in which they're farming. And I think what we'll find is some pretty remarkable imagery, at least theoretically, and Greg was excited about it, and using extension, there could be an opportunity. So when we think about how do we include art, it could be 53 farmers across the state that would share a photograph of their land, and there would be an opportunity to kind of share our region from a really interesting, specific point of view and tell a story. Another kind of opportunity would be to highlight things that are in the region, like I brought this up to you all before, but like the Heritage Jemkomst Center, which I think is absolutely one of the keystone, amazing historical things that have happened in our region. I actually knew Robert Asp growing up. He was my dad knew him, and I watched that ship being built. So there is a personal connection to this boat. I understand that, but the idea of highlighting some of the artifacts from that, working with artists in the region who also might deal with boats or the concept of a voyage, and create, again, a way to tell the story of something wonderful in our region, connect it to some storytelling, an opportunity when somebody comes into the airport to learn something about us, which I think is really what the goal is here, either when they're leaving or coming in, to spend 5 minutes just to learn a bit. And we all know if you go through Minneapolis Airport, there's opportunities to learn things while you're waiting for your flight. We have a captive audience sometimes of a half hour, and people are looking things to do other than find more snacks. So we'll give them another option to kind of engage with some things. And just a quick overview of other kinds of concepts, so you can know how we think about what the curatorial process, or how we tell stories. Things like local and regional media specific exhibitions. I could see doing an exhibition about, say, ceramics, all the potters in the region, the local clays that are being used, individual retrospectives to celebrate kind of lifetime artists. We could do things like that. I really love combining science and engineering collections and regional artists and designers. There's just all kinds of options, and that's, I guess, when you're working with a university and working with a collection, I want to again highlight that it's not about solely about NDSU collections or artists, but it's really about how we work as a museum to tell a story of our region and taking a leading place in that. And I think the airport would be a wonderful partner. I provided some numbers on what those things cost, and to either rotate once or twice a year in each site. And that's something that we could talk about moving forward. But I just want to give you an overview of the kinds of things that we do. And I also wanted to say I really have enjoyed partnering with Ivy, and the kind of combination of some of these big spaces, which are very, very difficult to manage. But this is an area that we know that we can kind of lock down as a institution and as a museum and collections, to do some storytelling. And we're just down the road. And that's kind of the point as well. So with that, I could take some questions about the way that I'm thinking or that we're thinking, but I appreciate the opportunity. That wasn't in Italian. I figured that's probably, and I don't speak Italian, but.
Mr. Burke.
And Michael, I really appreciate what you just said and kind of your presentation. I think you get what we're trying to do and create an experience here. So thank you for taking time out of your day and presenting. But this is exciting for us to have a relationship long term that's going to feed a curiosity and educate people.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. Thank you, Rick.
Michael, I'd like to add the notion of rotating exhibits is particularly exciting to me. I think static becomes just vanilla after some point in time, and some people are gonna love it, some people are gonna hate it. But if it's rotating, it doesn't matter because it's gonna change anyway.
Yeah.
We may want faster rotation sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, these are in key spots, and I think that's the opportunity. These are spots where people will gather, and so we'll work through that.
And Michael,
Thanks, Dr. Bashani.
Could you go over the annual costs associated with the frequency of the display rotation?
Yeah, it's and these are, again, this is working with you all as a pilot. I thought, once or twice a year, there's just a difference in price. I think if we do two installs a year, that is, we install both areas, but then what we do is get into a pattern so that if we did 2 a year, there would always be a new exhibition about semi-annually. If we did a 4 exhibition rotation, it would mean that quarterly there would be some sort of new exhibition moving into one of the other spaces. And we get into kind of a sustainable pattern, so we wouldn't be installing 2 at once or 4 at once, which makes sense to me because then things are freshened up quicker. For the kind of work to work through the time to get this put together, install. It's probably if we do 1 install for each per year, it's $5,000, and 2 installs would be $9,000, which I think is probably similar to what the other contracts you've had with the arts partnership. But there might be some. The one thing I wanted to talk to you with Ivy and so forth, and she reminded me there might be some initial. Once we install the first one, there might be things like putting our branding up on the wall, working together to come do some co-branding and get that in place. There might be some small. I don't think they're going to be large upfront costs to get the thing settled. But then when we start rotating, I think that's a manageable amount. I think that covers most materials, and we do a combination of working with undergraduate, graduate students, and staff members to do the work, to do the writing and collect work and so forth.
And
At least that's.
Can you clarify, is that one case or two, is that one display or two displays?
So if you have two displays, what we would do, it would be, if you have two displays, that would be one install for each per year and rotated semi-annually. So that would be about $2,500 a case. And just to give you an idea, it takes, to do something like the YEMCOMPST exhibition, that would be some research, that would be finding artists who might connect to it, that'd be working with the Historical Society, that'd be doing some writing, it would be the installation. So you can see, I just had my house repaired, and it was $3,400, and it took them 4 hours. We all know how costs vary. I think doing an install, literally it was $3,400, it was 4 hours, and I was, that's the way it goes. So that, that kind of price, I think, is pretty reasonable for what we're doing. And then to clarify then too, if it was it would be each case would be rotated twice a year at the higher rate, and that would then be 4 exhibitions per year, because it would alternate between each one.
Okay, so we're looking for an approval of the annual costs associated with the frequency of the display and rotation. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any more discussion? Is it for, are you making a motion, Dr. Bishani, for 1 or 2 rotations? Two, okay. And that's what you're saying?
And I second that. Did we have a budget for these? Or
Yeah.
Just, okay.
Yes, we've been working with all of us have been working with TANA on incorporating this into the overall budget that was approved in the phase 1.
Well, I guess
so just so I can speak up,
yeah.
This is not in the phase 1 budget, because the phase 1 is actually getting the art established. So what will be in the phase 1 cost will be the display case, the wall recess, things like that. Since this is an ongoing operational expense, it will be budgeted in our annual operating budget going forward, like as a management fee or something like that.
Sure.
So it is not in our budget now, but it will be going forward.
I don't want to overcomplicate this, but do you have like an annual cost in your mind, Michael? And we're not going to hold it to you, but just kind of curious on an ongoing basis, if we're rotating these 2 displays twice a year, and you're adding, some of the work up front,
Yeah. This is probably a pretty good estimate. It would be maybe upfront costs of about $1,000 to get everything settled beyond the showcases. That it would be making sure we have the right labeling, the design work to get what would be then the consistent labeling. That would be the things that would then be establishing us as a partnership. And then that $9,000 would be that rotational cost. And I think probably what makes sense is to do some sort of contract that this is something that I have to work through with Jace or so forth at the university. So that would be, we would do an assessment of it to see how this is working for you all and for us. It's something like a 3-year rotation, so we can get into a pattern. So that would be the cost. It would be around that much. And let's say there was a special exhibition. There's things that we were already thinking about, like writing there's some granting opportunities to do some partnerships and things like that. If there's bigger costs that are actually like the farm project is a much bigger project than that, but it would be something that I could certainly find some extra funding for.
So
I would just like to say, I shouldn't say this on this side of the table, but it seems like a real bargain, Michael. Thank you.
Well, I'm happy to increase the amount to support the collection more. I just wanted to make sure. It's probably a little North Dakota of me, but
Okay.
So Tana, where is it in the budget that we do the arts partnership agreement? Because this
that's
would
in
be
the
somewhat
operating
similar.
budget right now.
It's in the operating.
Okay.
It's a line item in the operating budget.
And so is that where this would end up?
Yes, it would, because it would be an ongoing annual fee.
Okay,
And just to clarify, Rick, I'm not, I'm aware of the value to both the museum and the university to have this partnership as well. And to have a, some prominent space where we're telling stories. Although, again, I'm very committed to this not being just pure NDSU centric. This is really about telling the story of our region. So there's added value on my side as well. So, well, I should say, a very North Dakota of me, I also recognize that.
okay, there's a motion and a second. Is there any more discussion? Any more discussion? Roll call?
Bashani?
Yes.
Berg?
Aye.
I'm sorry, Cosgrove? Aye. Capitan?
Aye.
Heckman?
Aye.
And Rick, I'll give you a phone call on how to negotiate better after this.
I'll probably learn from you, yeah.
Thaddeus, aye. Or Tim? Thank you.
Thanks, all. I'm going to go have a tiramisu or something in celebration.
Thanks. Thank you, Michael.
Thaddeus is aye.
Take care, everybody.
Okay, so Thaddeus is now available, so we'll go back an item to the Clear Channel locations discussion.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Morning. So Thaddeus, I think what I just kind of introduced you, and I believe in 146 of their packet is the formal request for approval for the advertising locations, the letter that you had sent Sean.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
Thaddeus, I have a question for you.
Sure.
I notice on the so when you ask for the locations, are you saying like a digital is so a current digital, then we're staying with the same number, so the same number of static as and the same number of digital? Or are they interchangeable?
In my request or in, the digital will remain the same number. There's going to be currently in the current layout as the program has been designed by Mead and Hunt, there will be 4 fewer print displays. And that's something we can address once the building is complete. And then we see opportunities to develop elsewhere, which we would like the right to develop. But right now, we are looking to just have approval on what Mead and Hunt has presented as it relates to the current layout.
My question, I'll tell you the basis for my question is that I notice in the baggage claim advertising locations that 2 of the screens that are on the soffits are digital, and they were currently static, and they were red signs that said "Welcome to Fargo International Airport" or "Welcome to Hector," and so those used to be like a static welcome sign, and now they're indicated as digital signs.
Okay. I was not asking about those. I think Mead and Hunt put those in. We aren't concerning ourselves with that. We don't intend to.
Have nothing to do with Clear Channel. Those are our signs.
Yeah, they gave them to us, and then we did that through Flint Communications with those signs.
Because in this map it shows digital where they were. The advertising locations, baggage claim right here, and then it's indicated that they're, when I looked at the map, it said digital.
Keep them, but they're not there.
Madam Chairman. So Thaddeus, I'm just, again, trying to get back up to speed with everything, so I'm clear in what you're requesting. But if I recall in our prior meeting, just, could you give me those numbers again? I don't have my notes in front of me, but you had like 37, and then we approved 32 or 33 locations to do the wiring.
That is correct.
That brief history, what were those numbers? You had so
That
many.
is,
Go ahead.
sure. The total media program is comprised of 37 displays. That is digital and print. Given the new layout, after the construction's over, there will be effectively 34 total displays. So there will be 4 fewer displays when this construction is over than currently exists today. And right now we're at a place where if we do not order those displays by the 17th,
Right.
we will not be able to have them installed in time.
Back up. So if you have 37 now and you're going to have 34, there would be 3 less.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's 33. So there, I see the screen is up here. Yeah.
And so what we did is we approved the wiring for those 33, but we didn't approve Clear Channel putting them in those locations. Is that where this is?
That is correct.
Okay, so what you're looking for today is for us to approve Clear Channel to those 33 locations. And then the 4 other locations are kind of floaters that we'll figure out as we're going forward.
That is correct.
Okay. So really, I guess that's the issue for us today.
Great.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Stacy, I've asked this over and over. How many existing signs are we displacing? 4?
Say that again.
How
Yes,
many?
4.
4. So under the terms of the contract, everything stays the same. We owe them 4 locations.
Correct.
So all we have to do here is to approve 4 comparable locations to the 4
No,
they
that's
lost.
all we have to now is approve the 33 that we had wired.
Well, the 33 moves them all around, all 33.
Right, but that's the decision.
Yeah.
The 4,
But the contract requires us, the contract anticipates if we take a wall down and that was a display, that we allow them another wall for the display. And under the terms of the contract, we owe them 4 sites, not 33, because the 33 redistributes throughout the new area, which we don't have to give them sites in the new area. We just have to give them comparable to the 4 we've displaced.
right, but I think maybe viewing this different. They've identified 33 locations
throughout the
new hangar and existing
everything.
hangar and everything like that. And then we approved to have those wired.
They're wired so they could be, so that if we want to go into a program there, but I think what we want to do, Brandon agreed with us at the last meeting. Let's see what the flow is, how the wayfinding, everything's in place, and then determine if we want additional signs in that area. All we have to do now is approve the 4 that we've displaced.
Okay, I don't think that's correct. Is that correct, Thaddeus?
No, it is not correct.
So the 4, they're not saying you haven't identified those 4, and you're not
Right.
asking for us to identify those 4. You're really looking for us to approve those 33 locations that have been kind of identified and wired. So I guess the question for us is, is any of those locations, do we approve those locations or not? I think we've kind of, that train's kind of, I shouldn't say left the station.
Yeah, no, I think, Stacy, what I've understood and what I've continued to ask is the contract more anticipates a remodeling project where you move a wall and then you give them a replacement. This is going and saying, we're going to have 33 sites distributed throughout all old and new terminal areas. I don't think we have to do that. I think we have to provide them 4 replacement. And that's what I see in the contract.
So I would respectfully disagree.
Okay.
Where we're at today is Mead and Hunt has identified the 33 sites, and when we talk about the terminal building, that is old and new terminal. So that's
Correct.
where Mead and Hunt went out and identified those 33, but we didn't have the ability to identify the 4. So the way I interpret it, the contract is that we had a duty to make reasonable efforts to identify spots for Clear Channel advertising. We did that due diligence, that duty with regard to the 33, and the 4 will sort of just sit until those can be determined at a later date.
But our requirement was to replace the 4 we've displaced. they've asked for 33. I understand what they're asking for, but our requirement is we took out 4 locations. And that's correct, I believe.
Well, it's not. What our asking is on the map that you see on your screen, we're simply asking that the airport approve locations 3, 4, 5, 15, 6, and 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Just approve us to develop them. Additionally, we're going to relocate 3 existing ceiling mounted digital displays to locations 12, 13, and 14.
And to me, what we're doing is, again, we're into a substantial change in the contract through amendments and everything else. And so my position and what I've read in the contract is we replace the 4 we displaced. And so we identify 4 similar locations. To the 4 that are displaced, we offer them to Clear Channel and they can develop. What you're asking for is a complete change in the location of all the sites under the contract. And then I think we're getting dangerously close to a new contract and should be looking at the whole thing. So, and maybe the quickest way to do this is I would make a motion to identify 4 comparable sites to offer to Clear Channel per the contract.
So I guess I respectfully disagree with that analysis. The airport needs to make reasonable accommodations when the airport is, for whatever reason, going to look to move, the airport has to make its best efforts to reasonably do so. They have 37, they have identified 33 that they can do their displays in, and the 4 would be revisited again. I think we had this exact conversation at the last meeting.
Stacy, the trigger is in our remodeling, in our changes, we've displaced existing locations. We've displaced 4. We offer them 4 new locations. End of story. The others stay exactly as they are. If that means it's not new signage for them in the new gate area, that's what that is. We have the opportunity, if we want to negotiate with them after we have everything in place, we can see what's happening, to offer them those sites at that point. But right now, we've displaced 4, we offer them 4.
Brandon, would you please bring that? Were you showing that screen? Would you please bring that up
Yeah, I
again?
was. You bet.
All right.
And I think John's correct. I mean, if we went back to ground zero, basically
Can you go 2 pages down?
keep your same sites. And if we want to give you more, we can give you more.
Right.
I feel like, again, that issue, so I don't disagree with what you're saying. I don't agree with that, but I understand what you're saying. And you do have a point.
So,
I just have one question, really, if you would.
Sure.
So Brandon, I mean, we've kind of relied on you on this whole process, and we spent a lot of time. I mean, do you approve these 13 or 33 locations?
Yes. We've gone through with all our resources, our consultants through this design process and locating these with the perspective of the passenger walking through it, making sure they're not overwhelmed. It's an appropriate mix. Yeah, we're absolutely fine with this arrangement.
Madam Chairman, just to move this along, I would move that we accept those 33 locations.
Second.
okay, I would just like to make everybody knows that I have been very concerned about this. And so because we are investing $120 million in our new terminal, and for instance, here's the entrance to our $6 million Skyway. And it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 static screens. Now, if we take the 37 screens that we currently have, or the 33, 8 of them are double-sided. The floor locations, we're getting about $3 a screen. So
But now-
welcome to Fargo. Welcome to our $40 million parking garage. Walk through our $6 million Skyway. And here you get to go through an advertising tunnel that we're gonna generate about $19 a day.
My question is that one of the locations?
Yes.
Is that one of the locations, Brandon?
What, I don't know what you're referring to.
Well,
I think it,
so we're obligated to provide, contractually to give other locations. Do we have to give? This seems like.
Oh, the Skyway. Yeah,
And,
yeah,
and
okay.
in our agreement with Clear Channel, it said that the advertising program should be totally integrated and coordinated as to design, quality, and content for the facility.
for the sake of this request, while we contemplate developing that area with 6 screens, for the sake of this request, we're simply asking for the locations beyond the checkpoint. This doesn't need to be addressed for another year. And if it is determined that we can only put 2 signs up or 3, whatever, that'll change the numbers. Clear Channel is willing to work with the board on that in another date. Right now, we need to know if we can have the locations approved that are seen on this map right near. On the map, on this map, it says we'll need to reconfigure the entrance. Yes.
Just to be clear, so what we just looked at as the entrance to the Skyway is not one of the 33 locations.
It is one of the 33 locations, but while the authority is fixated on the number of locations, we are merely wanting to develop the second level as this map shows, which Mead and Hunt designed. That's what we're asking for. We are going to have to deal with at some point in the future how we're going to develop the main exit. We contemplate 6 signs, but that's a year out. Is that not right, Brandon? That's not even going to be done for a year.
I thought the approval,
Correct.
I thought what we were
September.
looking for was approval of the locations. So would we not be approving those locations with this motion?
Madam Chair, and that's why I'm advocating, let's do the bare minimum of required in the contract. We've displaced 4, offer them 4. When we have everything completed, we can come back, because this, as proposed, and what they're asking for includes those 6 signs on the walkway. And again, we're not talking huge revenue amounts here. We're talking 40, 50,000 a year. They're not giving us any estimates of additional revenues that can be derived from this. And so why not just do what's required? Give them the 4 replacement at this time. We have the option then, if we're gonna, as Thaddeus says, we'll come back a year from now and negotiate, then we can negotiate for what's around the Skyway and the other locations that are already there and available.
Well, I'm disappointed that when we have expressed concern about some of these locations, for instance, this graphic shows that the signs hanging down from the ceiling do impede the wayfinding, that no other locations have been proposed to the board. I mean, yes, we have to replace digital and static screens, but we've only been given one option on where those locations would be.
Madam Chairman, a lot of this stuff, I mean, we're not really probably going to know until it's actually installed and see how it works. And I hope that if we have something that's detracting from the terminal, we can work with Thaddeus on that. We may have to come up with additional money to move it, but I think, I'm pretty clear in all those locations, and I can't say that I'm excited about all those locations, but at the same time, we're coming into a timing issue. And I don't want people doing construction when we have everyone coming in and out of the terminal and the terminal's open. So I guess what I'm thinking is probably withdraw my motion and then approve all the sites with the exception of the interest in the Skyway. So we can figure out exactly how we want that to look going forward. If,
I have one more question. That is, you're asking for the total displays, but it doesn't say how many square inches or feet of screens that includes. So, you know, if we currently had, say, a smaller screen, then does this say we can pick a screen of any size?
I have not done that.
Can pick a screen of any size? Because the signs that are hanging down from the ceiling in the concourse are quite large.
The digital displays are simply going to be relocated. They're not going to be new displays. They're just going to be shifted to the east for 12, 13, and 14.
well, again, I would amend the motion to include all the locations with the exception of the Skyway entrance.
If I may, Madam Chairman, there's already a motion and a second. So if he wants to amend the motion, the second has to agree to it.
Well, I'll withdraw my motion.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's no motion, second, withdrew the second. I would move that we approve all these locations with the exception of the Skyway entrance.
Second.
Okay. Clarification, go back to that diagram. We could go back to the one that was just up there.
Yep.
On this diagram, I see 1, 2, 12, 13, and 14. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm not clear on your request.
The proposed media program, the red signs are new.
No, they're just the digital displays. We just differentiated between digital and print. Print is blue, digital is red. 1 and 2 are not touched. They will remain where they are. 12 and 13 are currently between gates 2 and 3 under the current layout. And so they would just get shifted over to the east. And then 14 is already on the east side, and that would just kind of get shifted down.
Oops. Sorry, I thought you had that.
Oh, there you
somewhere.
go. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that shows, like, if you zoom in quickly, you can kind of see the stars represent the digital display. So 03, 04, and 05 will get shifted around to realign inside the new renovated east side of the concourse.
Are there going to be screens hanging down in the restaurant bar area? Is that what I saw?
I'm not.
No.
Brandon?
No.
Okay. One more question. So as we replace screen locations to comply with the contract, if there's a double-sided screen, does that count for 1 screen or 2?
The double-sided screen, I called 1 display. I call them displays, not screens, is what I counted.
So like a digital sign could be, we could have a 1-sided digital sign right now, for instance, hanging on a wall, and contractually you're saying that could be replaced with a 2-sided digital screen.
Well, all of our digital displays are double-sided. And so I just counted them as 1 display.
It's one location.
Okay.
Aren't some of the existing one-sided on the stairways and
Ones on the walls are, yes.
They're not digital though. We have 5 digital displays in the concourse, double-sided for a total of 10 LCDs.
Okay.
And in baggage claim, we have 3 double-sided digital displays.
the lower level is, Rick's motion is to approve all 33.
Well, except to the Skyway.
Except to the Skyway, so that's less 6. So that's 27 locations.
I think that's a question for Brandon or Thaddeus. How many?
Yep,
Yeah.
the 6 would be, yeah, you would subtract 6 displays that we will need to address at some point.
And so, again, we're back to amending contracts. Are we amending the contract to a total of 27 sites then? Or are we still leaving open up to 37? I mean, are you gonna come back to us now and say, well, you took the 6 out around the Skyway, you did this, now under contract, you gotta give us.
Yeah, we'll owe them 10 locations to get to the 37.
Yeah.
And if in 2 years we're swimming along and there's no place to reasonably develop, it's not like you are now going to have 10 spots that will unequivocally be put up somewhere in the airport. We're interested in a media program that reflects well on the airport, reflects well on the architecture of the facility in which it is placed, and works with passenger flow so that it grants the exposure that advertisers are paying for. So for now,
Thaddeus,
yeah.
my concern going forward, and the reason I say we should just give you the 4 replacement, is we have a number of items coming forward that we're gonna have to negotiate. You've already made the statement that you believe any history of companies within Red River Valley would be display and not eligible for sponsorship. You currently refuse to give us buyouts on the floor spaces that we've asked for, and that we have new areas that are being developed. And I just think we keep this very simple, follow the basic terms of the contract and go, here's your 4 replacement. We'll deal with everything else as it comes. And that's why I won't support this motion.
There's a motion and a second. Could we take a vote?
Any more discussion? Any more discussion? Roll call.
Shawnee?
Yes.
Berg?
Aye.
Cosgrove?
No.
Navatan?
Aye.
Ekman?
No. Okay, moving on to, thank you, Thaddeus.
Great, thank you. I appreciate it.
I think before we leave that too, we should have some follow-up on that Skyway signage. So I don't know, maybe just make a note of that, Madam Chairman. I mean, we know what that's gonna look like.
When our project manager will be overseeing the installation of this new media program in January. And when she's out there, along with Tim Fazekas, our sales, I think they'll be looking around, how might we do it? And so we can look at how we might develop that and talk to Sean and his team and come up with some ideas.
Okay. Update on sponsorship and art financial plan. We've got Gina and Ivy.
Great. Gina, I will maybe just kick it off with a positive update we're excited about sharing, and then turn it over to you for more comprehensive information. But wanted to let the board know that we have some good news to share thanks to great work by your community arts advocates. Brad Bachmeyer sent an email on Friday informing us that McGuff had committed to purchasing and donating a large piece of kinetic sculpture that had been identified by some of the art partners, including Michael Strand, Brad Bachmeyer, Tanya Blanich. A very cool kinetic piece, a couple of feet tall, about 6 feet tall, I believe, by regional artist Jeffrey Zachman. He is from the Fergus Falls area and has works placed all over the world. And Brad and McGuff connected on this. McGuff is also providing support for an enclosure construction. The piece itself is valued at $62,000. with the additional contribution on the part of McGuff of the enclosure, it's about a $70,000 art donation from your community partner. So we're really excited about that. We'll be working with McGuff and Mead and Hunt on the details of what that will look like and exactly how and where to integrate it into the space. But it's a great kickoff to the additional sponsorship asks that will soon be going out about the artwork. Beyond that, we're just finalizing the initial sponsorship details and moving forward with our phase 1.
And
just an image of the sculpture that McGuff is donating.
Ivy and Brandon, you probably can't see, but Rich Slagle from McGough is here today in the room.
Oh, awesome. Fantastic.
Great.
Any questions about the initial contribution?
Madam Chair, we do need to check with Clear Channel to make sure this is a sponsorship and not advertising, because we've never solved that. But the proposal that was put forth in sponsorships would require advertising contract with Clear Channel. So
gives us an opportunity to get that resolved.
It's what we're headed towards, yes.
And I'll defer to Mead and Hunt as they're leading the overall arts and amenities and coordination on that. At least from what little I know with background, potential differentiator, I think, again, this is a donation in totality of a great work of art rather than sort of an ongoing payment structure for continued promotion or any other change of content or information over time. So more of a capital approach, I think, with the donation of a work of art.
I understand the nuances of it, but we need to hammer this out going forward.
Well, I think it's a really exciting development. And, it's nice to kickstart now our sponsorship program for art. And I thank McGough, and I think it's a really cool piece. It's a local artist, and it's visible from all 4 sides. And I think it'll be appealing to travelers and passengers of all ages. So thank you.
Well, Madam Chairman, I would concur. Thank you. I think one of the things I would encourage this group to do, though, is we need to think of what is our overall theme. And so going forward, just because someone's going to donate it doesn't mean that that's part of our airport forever and ever. So, I've ran into this in Medora where people have donated different things that really didn't fit with what they were trying to do, but they accepted the donation because of a very substantial donation. So I think there ought to be a theme throughout here. And so even a donor, they want to donate something that's going to enhance the airport. So they're doing something that fits that theme.
Like we did with the airplane that was removed for construction, the Curtis Pusher, that's owned by a local family. It's on loan. They retain ownership. It's on loan and on display. Therefore, you can call it any time to have it removed.
And I do want to reassure everybody on the board, when this piece was brought to the Arts and Amenities Committee as a possibility, that everybody on the board or on the committee was very excited about the possibility and hoped that we could find a sponsor. So
Absolutely. Yeah, this was Rick, to address your concern before McGuff stepped up and offered this, which thanks to Rich, Joe, and McGuff. But we were looking at this piece and trying to find a way to fit that into the budget. So yeah, very appropriate for what we the kind of the theme we have for the airport, and a dynamic piece like this is just going to be it's going to create interaction and interest. So
we'll provide some additional context. I agree. Thank you, Brandon. It definitely, when we looked through those project goals, guiding principles, highlighting innovation, education, creativity of the region, we felt this was a great interactive, positive distraction piece, very much engineering inspired. I think it felt like a natural fit for McGuff as well. Both kids and adults alike, I think, find a lot of delight in the engagement with this piece. But you're correct, and we'll continue to work toward documenting some of those details around acceptance parameters. I have a lot of history and background, especially within the healthcare world too, where sometimes well-intended donations are not always in the best interest of the facility or client. So we will continue to press forward with that work and make sure that we have supplemental documentation to support those needs in the future as well.
John Cosgriff offered to donate a statue of himself. So I just wanted to know. I could turn him down softly.
Dr. Bashani, did you have a comment?
I was just gonna say what Ivy and Rick have talked about. And this is no reflection on the gift, but this can become a horribly messy situation if we don't have some thoughtful parameters about accepting gifts.
And that's why I think we feel really fortunate to have Ivy to kind of control that whole, to make sure that everything's cohesive and makes sense in the airport.
That's why
The last note
I'm sorry, that's why the idea of having it on loan versus permanent is the only way to do it. Yeah.
But this is permanent. This isn't on loan.
That's up to you.
Well, no, I'm just asking.
Could be considered on loan. You retain ownership.
You don't like it, give it back to Rich.
No, we're open to either option.
Okay. Do you have any?
We'll review that as an art committee and come back with a recommendation on that. And hopefully one that works for McGuff as well. And again, thankful for their generosity in kickstarting this process. Michael Strand as well, awesome partner. You guys have great community folks on the arts committee. And our phase 1 program will, in addition to what Michael noted, support what some of the hard costs related to the space to make sure that's a fantastic exhibit. But want to thank all the partners involved. We've got good community folks there.
Yeah. Gina, do we have any other updates on the Arts and Amenities Committee?
Just the other update is the immersive reality room. We are moving forward with the construction of the room, the details that the vendor has requested. The vendor did come out and meet with Sean a couple of weeks ago, and we are looking at installing the equipment around mid-December. Is up and going. Other than that, as far as our sponsorships, we've kind of put it on hold here again to consider what's going on with Clear Channel. And we've found out through talking with Tana and Sarah that the sponsorship money is committed from businesses for this year. And we'll be looking at first quarter of next year for sponsorship money for the following year, 2027. I know that's a long way out, but the way it works in the community, it seems that is a strategic plan moving forward. Other than that, our committee's meeting every other week, and Ivy's moving forward with the phase 1 development. We've got the drain covers, the construction of those adapted for the art, and Ivy is working towards facilitating art in the places identified in phase 1. Any questions?
Any more questions? Thank you, Gina, and thank you, Ivy. Gina, you get to stay on for the inter-office furniture proposal.
Correct. So this is for everything besides the beam seating that Arconis is supplying. It's the proposal for the executive office. It includes the playroom as well as the sensory room is primarily what this proposal is for. I worked with several different vendors. I sent it out to 3 different vendors to get pricing, and the local vendor seemed to come back with the best pricing, which is great. They're there, they'll be on hand and be able to do the install.
And that's for which CD?
They're in Fargo.
I mean, which equipment or which furniture is that for?
It's for the executive floor, everything on the third floor, the playroom, as well as the sensory room.
Okay. Gina, where's the Carnegie proof large seating? It looks like a soft-sided with a little back in the middle. Where's that going?
Which one is it, Paula?
It says there's I guess there's only one. It's a medium seat solo Carnegie proof large seat. Covet?
Oh, that's in the play area.
Oh, okay. All right. Because I saw there was only 3 Adirondack chairs, and I was just
Yeah, there's just 3. Yeah.
Will there be a bench or anything along the wall for additional seating?
There's some beanbag seating against one wall, and then we have the 3 Adirondack chairs.
Okay. Thank you.
Madam Chair?
Mhm.
For the, are we also seeking sponsorships for these items?
We will, and as I mentioned, that will be coming in the first quarter of 2026.
And the office furniture, this is a budget request. We didn't have office furniture in our original bid.
The bid that was approved a couple months ago was only for the beam seating for the airport. The office, I call this the auxiliary furniture, it's the office furniture, and everything else that Arconas couldn't provide for the airport is what is included in this bid.
So this is an additional request for the 232,000.
Correct.
And that there was no office furniture in the original.
When we originally proposed the furniture to the board, it was separated out between the beam furniture and the office furniture.
So this is additional to our existing contracts, correct?
This is additional to the Arconas contract, which is the beam seating for the airport.
So we currently have a GMP that was approved for furniture for 2.321 million. And so this 232,000 would be in addition to that GMP that was already approved.
So the GMP did not include office furniture, I guess, right?
From what I understand, correct.
Is that our oversight?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think as we were pulling the numbers together between the two furnitures vendors, I think the executive furniture, although through design we had anticipated this and we walked through what was needed there and within the new conference room up there. And I think honestly it was something that we missed in adding to the 2.3 million, the Arconas number. So
through the state of North Dakota, there's workforce safety grants for office furniture. Is there any way that we could apply for any of those grants to help offset the cost of this executive area furniture?
It's something I guess we could look into with TANA. That could be a possibility.
I know they do some reimbursement up to 75%, but I don't know what furniture that works for. I think it's
okay,
maybe
and that's through the state of North Dakota.
Yeah.
Okay.
Paula, I can check into that. But from my brief experience of working with them before, it was the types of furniture that would be like ergonomically correct, like the ergonomically seating and things like that. But I will double check just in case things have changed over the last couple of years.
Okay, that'd be great. I know we were able to utilize some of those workforce safety grants with our furniture, so it's a great program. Is there a motion to approve the inter-office furniture proposal?
To approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call?
Rashani?
Oh.
Yes. Bird? Cosgrove?
Aye.
Capitan?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, moving on to.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gina.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
Brandon. Moving on to old business safety report, please.
Nothing to report since the last meeting.
Okay. Then we have the CFO and marketing community engagement positions.
So in your packet, work with Pro Resources, their HR staff that takes care of us here, and put together a couple job descriptions and then also the pros and cons that were requested. It's open for discussion. I brought to your attention on the pros and cons of both. The timing of both is with the holidays coming up, starting the audit, of course, in January. That has to be done April 1st. The chance of hiring a CFO that's not currently engaged, like Tana is right now, is susceptible. So forth. And the same with marketing person. Either position will be moving in January from the current office over to the 3rd floor. So the time that we'll have available to orientate and onboard someone is going to be fairly limited and probably not fair to the person that will potentially be hired. So that's the recommendation. Holding off on that.
Okay.
Madam Chair, I think we can go ahead and approve these job descriptions and start the process. It doesn't mean we absolutely have to have the position filled by January 1st, but it does allow us to start the process. I understand the office moves are disruptive, but at the same time, can be accomplished. I've been involved in replacing both part-time and contract CFOs with permanent CFOs, and you would typically want them working together for a period of time and then make the transition. So I think we can accomplish this. And again, the timing is going to be what the timing is. We move ahead and approve these. Get on the track.
Okay, Dr. Bashani?
With all due respect, I find these solutions looking for a problem and don't support the creation of either of these positions. And it seems like there's at least a pretty good argument that in the best scenario, they break even, but there's a potential for them costing us more than resources we're using. And I'd want to hear more about the external recommendations supporting these if we're going to move forward with doing them. And I recognize I may be on the losing side of a vote, but again, I find these a solution, a potentially expensive solution to a problem that doesn't exist.
Madam Chair, I would just push back in that the CFO position has, I think, added great value and been very, very beneficial to the airport and the entire process. And prior to our contract CFO coming on, our financial statements were very, very difficult to read. They were volumes and volumes of information, but hard to distill decision-making materials from. Our modeling, everything else in the CFO. In the marketing and the engagement, I believe we have support from our contracted marketing engagement and the ability to react. And we've been told by staff at different occasions that they do not have the bandwidth to do the marketing and the communications.
And Mr. Cosgrove, I want to split these two because they're very different situations. On CFO, no argument with what you said. I'm just saying that the current arrangement is successful and doesn't need to be modified. On the marketing, I would want to hear from Flint. I know Paulo suggested that they were recommending that to us. I'm not sure that's exactly what they were doing, and I'd want to hear from them if that's the case.
I actually have an email from Jody Duncan dated July 30th, and she said, here's some of the bullet points.
Yes, I've
This-
got it.
Okay.
But like a good contractor, I think the wording of that's very carefully saying, we'll support whatever the board decides. That's different than a recommendation. And if she's online, maybe we could have her clarify that.
In the email, it said, having someone on site would allow for real-time social media content, could manage the electronic signage content, could solicit some sponsorship opportunities, manage events, like new airlines coming in, holiday decorations, special entertainment, etc. So I think she was basically saying that, and I don't want to speak for Jody, that there are opportunities that are just not in the wheelhouse of Flint currently, but that this person would not replace Flint, but would work in tandem with them to support their efforts. And I will point out, Hector Airport strategic plan is laid out, I believe, by Dr. Schatz. Number one priority, community engagement. And so to have somebody in-house that's working on those community engagement duties would be beneficial. I think that, and back to Tana's recommendation about how we got here in the first place, was that both of these positions would actually save money. For instance, if we had a CFO, we could, for the same amount of money, we could get 12 more hours of work per week from that CFO. And back to the marketing, Flint's proposal for 2026, $14,000 is allocated to, for instance, quarterly newsletters. That's something that could be done in-house and potentially be a money-saving thing for the airport, as well as like social media. We've got $80,000 allocated for social media. And again, I'm not suggesting that an in-house community engagement marketing person would ever replace Flint. It would add to their services for the airport and really go along with mid-sized airports across the country that have an in-house marketing community engagement person.
And what I asked is if we could hear from Jody that that's a recommendation.
Absolutely. Is Jody on? Or Sarah? I know Sarah was earlier.
I guess not.
Okay.
Well, and I think it's, I mean, they're two separate issues, but in the marketing, I think it's someone that's going to be interfacing with Flint quite a bit. I don't know if we know how that's going to work together, but my understanding is rather than paying contractor hourly rate, stuff that can be done, you know, at a lower cost and more, is kind of what I sense that recommendation being.
Another thing, another asset to the airport could be that instead of officing in the executive offices, the community engagement person could office out of our information desk and enhance that community engagement portion of those responsibilities.
Oh, move it along. I would move to approve the suggested job descriptions for the two positions and set us on track to hire those positions within the 2026 budget as we already anticipated cost coverage for it.
Second.
Any more discussion? Any more discussion? Roll call?
Rashani?
No.
Berg?
Yes.
Bosworth?
Aye.
Capitan?
No.
Ekman?
Aye. Governance committee update.
Well, I don't know if we have an update. I think kind of more, this is just my thinking on the next steps. I think we need to get back together as governance and just figure out what pieces we're gonna take from the effort and which ones we're gonna, shelf. So I think I'll take the lead in setting something up, kind of review that with Dean, and I'd invite the chairman to be a part of that too, if you'd like, or anyone else.
So you're talking about governance coming back with some goals and identifiable metrics and.
Yeah, I think we got to figure out what is it we're going to use, and
the performance and
yep,
all those aspects, succession, everything. Was that a motion?
Well, I don't think we need a motion, but I mean, I guess I'm just kind of saying we'll give a notice to everyone. We'll have another meeting, and whoever wants to attend can come. But we should either shelve it or take the things out of there that we can use. One of the things was, talked about, do we have a outside committee that's officially, recognized? And what does that committee do? Obviously it's to make recommendations to the board, but
So you don't think we need a motion?
I don't think so.
Okay.
We know where we're headed.
No, that's why we need to get together.
Okay.
We have any point, we'll get you there.
Okay. Next item, discuss vendor RFP timeline.
As we talked earlier, the engineering services right now with Mead and Hunt is good through calendar year 2028. That's an FAA process that we follow for engineering services. So in 2028, we would go out in the market for projects starting in 2029. Architectural services, the board has always done that on a project by project basis, so we don't put that out as the FAA would allow you to do for a 5-year term. We do it on a project by project basis. Parking, we will be putting that out in the summer of 2026 for a January 1st, 2027 start. Marketing, advertising, the Flint would be summer of 2026 for a January 1st, 2027 start. Legal services, summer of 2026 for a January 1st, 2027 start. Banking, if you so choose, which isn't recommended, you could go out into the market again for that. Last time was in 2019, starting January 1, 2020. I guess that'd be up to you, but that's kind of where we're at.
We don't really have a contract with banking, do we?
You just have accounts and you sign accounts, yeah. But if you talk with the city or any of the government entities, it's just not something that they do often. The city hasn't for over 30 years. Cass County, I don't know what Jim, if he knows. That's a real painful process.
Well, it's painful, but it allows banks to compete then.
Not that we would change, but we can put it out there, but not that we would change. Resources, which is our HR, payroll, safety training, and all of that. That's on a year-to-year deal. So I mean, it's something that could look at. Would be highly. There isn't really anybody in town that does that. What they provide, but we certainly.
Madam Chair and Sean, I think the intent was even if it's a yearly contract at a 5-year RFP cycle, that you go out into the market and say, we're looking for these services. You don't have to change, but it allows other businesses to have the opportunity to bid. What about the other consultants like we use? The one here, just today we had
John?
Yeah,
those are under the threshold for formal bid processes, so he's under the 30,000, so those are things that I can engage.
Yeah, the Leibowitz and Horton, I think they might have
Leibowitz and Horton was a partner with Mead and Hunt.
Okay, so we didn't pay Leibowitz and Horton.
Once it was outside of the scope, we did, yes. As they continued on to build the models with Tana and Mead and Hunt, that was outside. Once their scope ended with Mead and Hunt, then we continued to pay them monthly. But they've been off I don't think we paid them anything this year. They're done a long time ago. They're the best of the best out there. So that's where that sits.
Any more discussion on the RFP timeline? Okay. Update on the heated and air conditioned jetways. I know Brandon said that we had taken delivery of some of the new jetways.
Nothing to update. I mean, they're all in order and all in process to be installed at some point, but there's really nothing to update.
Were we waiting for a FAA grant to transition those to heated to retrofit? No? Okay.
We got the PR from Mead and Hunt a week and a half ago, so we are pricing it, and then the change order will need to be approved, and they'll be ordered.
Okay.
They've already approved it, so there's nothing really to approve. They've already approved the cost.
Okay.
We go through the paperwork to get the change order signed. Yeah.
Okay. I had asked to put an update on the liquor license as well. We're getting closer and closer to the opening of the restaurant in the new terminal space. I know we had Dustin inquire, or he said he was gonna inquire with the city, and I'm wondering if, because the airport holds the liquor license, if that's something that the airport should just be working on.
Well, he did. I mean, they're the ones that are responsible to pay for the liquor license. He had a very extensive conversation with Steve Sprague, of which his last day was at the office was last Friday. He's done on January 2nd, but so yeah, there's a lot of communication between Dustin and Steve on options there. I don't think anyone favored the allowance of people to just mingle throughout the terminal with the beer or wine for liability reasons and other things, but I'll try and get that documentation, send it back out to you that he had with Steve this past summer.
Madam Chair, what we might want to do is look to the city. The airport liquor license is a special designation in itself. The liquor licensing is archaic and convoluted, but the model at the airport, I think, more closely parallels a stadium or an event license. And so it's not a bar, it's not a restaurant. And so we could ask to have our existing license modified, or ask for a stadium license if it's appropriate, that allows you the ability to do things. It doesn't mandate. Once you have a liquor license, you can operate it in the manner you want. But if you do have other needs, it becomes allowable. And so I think that's something that city's our partner. We should talk to them about it.
Yeah, I think where that got hung up is in Fargo, beer and wine were the only thing that would be allowed, not hard liquor. The Alaris allows it, of course. It was there Saturday. They let anything go anywhere, but the city was restricted to beer and wine, I believe. But
well, the stadium license at Shields Arena includes everything.
Could be different, yeah.
And
I know what you're saying. Yeah.
That the fact that it includes it doesn't require it, but it allows you to not restrict your business models. And I still think we have a rather small restaurant within only 84 seats. Hope I'm wrong, but with 9 gates and larger aircraft, there might need to be some unique ways to approach it.
Yeah, I think you have to understand the liability of that, whether that falls on Skyline and or the airport when you have.
Well, the liability is taken care of both. Red Hawks actually have a full liquor license. The Shields Arena does. I'm not sure the status of the Fargo Dome, but the liability has been worked out in those situations. So.
Well, I just visited the Cedar Rapids Airport and the Des Moines Airport, and they both said that they have a full liquor license where their restaurant seating area is open to the concourse, and then people can take their beverages outside the restaurant area. So they can serve more people. And to John's point, you know, when a aircraft holds 180 people and our restaurant bar can only hold 84, I know currently I get a lot of complaints from passengers saying, you know, they're standing in the corner holding their beverage and they can't leave the confined space and there's no place to sit down. And something like that happens, I think, quite often, like on a Nashville or a Las Vegas type of flight. And we're gonna have that coffee bar area. In Des Moines, they had a coffee bar that transitioned, like also served beer and wine. So it would maybe take some of the pressure off of the restaurant area. And if we had a stadium license and it didn't work, we could always pull back and discontinue it. We could always have a trial period. Other airports in North Dakota do let people bring their beverages to the gate as well.
I would move to direct staff to work with the city on a request for the expanded liquor license.
Second.
Any more discussion? Any more discussion?
What's the
Roll call.
executive director's recommendation?
We'll re-engage with the city now. I don't know who's gonna take over for Steve, but they'll have someone acting as city auditor to take over. We'll have them restate what they've already provided us.
And we may need to, if it's gonna require the creation of a new sort of license, we may need to talk directly to commissioners also, get their feel for it. It hasn't been a problem at the Dome, it hasn't been a problem at Red Hot, it hasn't been a problem with the Shields Arena, so.
Is the motion to study something or do something?
Make the recommendation to pursue it, what we would have to do to either apply for or get created the license.
So is the motion to study doing it or to do something? I just want to be clear what we're voting on.
No, I think we should, if it's a simple request to receive a stadium license, we should ask for that. If not,
motion to do it, I know what the marching orders are, so we'll just do it. So
if it's not available, then it has to be a motion studying to say what we ask.
Can we just go with the informal?
I'm fine.
We'll look into it.
I'll draw my second.
It's a directive or it's a motion? Directive, okay. Public comment period regarding the topics discussed today or October 28th or any discussion? Any public comment? Is there a move to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in agreement, say aye. Motion adjourned, or meeting adjourned.